Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, fresh out the shower. I take one a month, whether I need it or not. That's right. I don't think I really needed it, but anyway, what's going on, my peeps? Got a couple toys to open and a bunch of things to talk about in the news. We could just, chill. Hey, Cryptid, what's going on, Cryptid? Who's excited for Captain America 4? Yes, and it's from the showrunner for the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is actually pretty cool. And it's also, well, it's being written by the guy who, yeah, and it's also being written by the guy who did the screenwriting for episode 6 of Falcon and Winter Soldier, now Captain America and the Winter Soldier. So pretty straightforward that it's going to involve Bucky, or excuse me, Cap at the very least. Sam Wilson. So nice. We also saw an interesting spoiler there that I hope some people recognize. Case in point, Cryptid, I know you're a huge fan of Joaquin Phoenix. Remember when Joaquin was just there? Joaquin Phoenix, rest in peace. Joaquin Torres. When Agent Torres was there, Private Torres, and he was like, "Oh, what are we gonna do with this?" And he was like, "Oh, you keep it," and he left. Did you just tell the guy who in the comic books is destined to become the new Falcon to keep your Falcon wings? I'm saying. So, anyway, yeah, what do we got here? I see you even corrected me there. Aiden, what's up, Aiden? Yes, Captain America 4. That's what I'm thinking about. Is for Captain America 4, we might wind up seeing something new. Only villains I can think for Cat 4: Serpent Society, Sin, Sisters of Sin, same thing, and Scourge. No, there's a whole bunch more. But the Serpent Society is funny because if you remember, um, Derek, I actually just watched that and it was hysterical. I didn't get the chance to comment on it yet, but I just watched it before I went live. You guys are nuts. Anyway, I know some Ethiopians who would put you guys to shame, though. I'm saying they've been eating hot pepper since they were born. It's like, welcome to this earth. Here's a ghost pepper. um, what do you call it? But the Serpent Society, if you remember when Kevin Feige was first announcing, all these different things and whatnot, like, oh yeah, Captain America Part Two, the Serpent Society, and then this and this and this, and he kept on going on with all these different, other ones, and everybody's like, yay, but everybody's still like, man, the Captain America thing, Serpent Society, really? Like nobody was that interested in the idea of the Serpent Society. For obvious reasons, they weren't that great. They were more like place fillers than anything else. I mean, there was an interesting relationship there, but for the most part, you know. And then he's like, "Oh, by the way, this is not the real title for Captain America. It's actually Captain America and the Winter Soldier." Everybody's like, "Ah!" So, I mean, there's that. No, I don't think that they're going to use them. Um, the idea with Cap, like, what big villain could they use? Crossbones is officially dead. I think that they officially killed Batroc in this, but it'd be interesting opportunity to bring him back. But one of the really cool storylines that I liked that could have been better but wasn't bad was the Fear Me storyline. Do you remember that? It was only 3 issues, and it was right around the same time. I think it was a digital only release, and it was versus the Scarecrow. So Sam had to go up against the Scarecrow in the sewers in order to try and rescue these kids and whatnot that Scarecrow had kidnapped. So I'm saying that would be a pretty good storyline to break into. And if you did want to bring back the Red Skull, right, it wouldn't hurt. Hell, you could even just say screw it and bring in the Fearmonger. Just don't make him Adolf Hitler. Don't make him Fearmonger 3 and 4 because that wouldn't roll over well. I promise you that. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of different ways that they can go with that. Hey, what's going on there, Core? Got my dad, Daryl. Oh, Daryl Senior. Oh, Derek. Okay. Hey, Dad. Hey, so Dad and Daryl would be Dad roll. Could you say Dad roll? It sounds too much like Duracell. What's up? How you doing, sir? um, only thing that puzzles me is what storyline will Cap 4 adapt? Oh, I just said something. um, since Cap 3 originally was supposed to be the Mad Bomb. Hmm, Mad Bomb could work also. You know what? Mad Bomb could work. You know, why not? Because that was when Jack Kirby returned to Marvel Comics, and he immediately returned with the Mad Bomb storyline. I just showed that I have the final part of that recently. They could do that, or they could do the original Secret Empire, not the new Secret Empire. I highly do not recommend that at all. But they could do the original Secret Empire one where they showed that, oh, there's a traitor here, and they were suggesting that it was actually Nixon. So I'm saying, like, they could totally pull off something like that. Why not? You know? And you know what? I'll tell you what, everybody who wants to turn around and pull this in, it doesn't have to necessarily be the president. It could just be a senator, right? Because even then, just what storyline would they adapt? Look at this new one that they're doing with Sharon Carter now, who's all of a sudden evil, right? So if she would also corrupt another senator like Gary Shandling was corrupted, God rest his soul also. You know, say Gary Shandling show, one of my favorite freaking memories when I was a kid, and way too young to be watching those, but I was an 80s kid. There was no latch key on the damn TV, and if there was, I probably had the key for that too. But I'll tell you what, man, let me tell you something. If they would have had a bad senator in there also, boom, there you go. You could do part of Mad Bomb. You could incorporate the original Secret Empire. You can make it was actually a corrupt senator. You know what I'm saying? So many different ways that you can go about doing this. It would be insane. Hey, Trinity. What's up, Trinity? Hey, Trinity, if you're bored, if you want to come on and say what's up, come on and say what's up. While I'm waiting for you to do that, though, what do you call it? Let me open up some toys. Let me open up bang, some Chuckies. Now, this is official Child's Play 2. This is Chucky that's all messed up and fugly looking. And this is the nice version of Chucky. And you can see it's not even like the authorized kind from Super 7. The good guys, it does not say Chucky anywhere on here. Anywhere on here. Oh, there's apparently more than one version. Oh, there's a mean version. Yeah, but I got this version. So, anyway, let me crack some of these puppies open here. See what we got. I don't want an evil Sharon Carter oozing into the books. Oh, yeah, I know, right? Let's keep her good. Honestly, I'm okay with Sharon being a villain, even in the comics. She's never really been that interesting. Yeah, but she's just so important to Cap. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing that's necessary to remember. She's important to the character of Captain America. Boop, drop that, and let me open this guy over here also at the same time. Can't right now, or I would. No worries, man. Another time, another day. Memphis loves Chucky, or as he calls him, Chunky. How old is Memphis again? You're raising him like we were raised. Man, you're raising him like we were raised with freaking, like, who cares? Just murder people. Watch murder. I remember, like I said, dude, I remember I was 12 years old when I watched RoboCop. 12 years old. And no, it wasn't in theaters. It was on the freaking VHS tape. You know what I'm saying? VHS. That's any younger folks. That's the thing with the reel to reel, but inside of a box. Yeah, that thing. Anyway, here's doesn't hold the knife very well, but here's the fugly version of Chucky. He's all messed up and he's got a bloody knife. Man. That's cool. You can see he's got like 5 points of articulation. He can move his legs, not the knees. He can move his arms, not the elbows. And he can move his head, and only side to side, not up and down. So that's it. Very simple, very, very simple design. And then there's the nice version of Chucky. He's so nice that he's come to be Bob the Builder and to do a bunch of home repairs. Remember Tim Allen Tool Time? Yeah, he's come to help out Tim. I don't know about that, Tim. I wouldn't try it, Tim. Hey, guys. Yeah, and he's going to bash you over the head with it, too. Same exact thing, 5 points of articulation. Not a whole lot, but he's got his little hammer for tool time. There you go. Bang. Good stuff. And since we're keeping with some of the little guys, I got something else. He's 9. Raise him right, bro. Raise him right. I just watched, what is it? My kids said that they were scared to watch the Jurassic Park movies and therefore the Jurassic World movies. But we just got finished watching Godzilla King of Monsters. I never saw it before. This is my first, and they've already watched a bunch of the different parts, the different skits that would have the parts of it that would happen on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Can't freaking be there all the time. So they already watched it. So my oldest is actually going on. It's like, oh, I think the next scene is going to be the fire Godzilla. I'm like, he just killed him. Why would it be fire? Oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Okay, stop spoiling it, man. Anyway, little monster. He's the real monster. they what do you go? So they watched it and they enjoyed it, man. And that was a good movie. I know there are people complaining like, oh, the fights were in the dark. Shut up. Stop complaining, dude. We had Mothra. You know what I'm saying? We had Ghidorah. We had freaking Rodan. My kids didn't know who Rodan was. Do you know how freaking cool I sounded? How cool I looked when my kids were like, who's that? And I was like, kids, that is Rodan. And you're lucky there's only one of them. Like, what? I was like, oh, yeah. Oh yeah, because Daddy knows a thing or two, right? I'm telling you, they loved it, and it was really good because I watched the Godzilla versus Kong thing recently. I didn't realize that they were going to be connected like all that. I knew they were going to be. I didn't know they were going to connect it that much. Like that's where they introduced the Hollow Earth and everything. Oh, I forgot to show you what I'm about to open. Boop! I'm opening Gizmo. No, I do not have Spike. Sorry. Can't do everything, but I do have a little Gizmo, and he looks like he's got 6 points of articulation. So he maybe. I don't think he. That might have broken. It looks like he could turn his head, but I'm afraid of that thing breaking. So, okay, yeah, 5 points of articulation because yeah, not too much with the legs, but he can move his waist a little bit, not a lot. It feels like it's gonna like the plastic's just gonna break and the stuff's gonna pop off. Anyway, the head is supposed to turn, I think, because it looks like it's supposed to, but I can't get it to turn, and I ain't trying to break this damn thing. I'll put it under hot water, warm water, and see if that does it, but I ain't trying to mess anything up. What's up, Jamal? How you doing, man? Watched RoboCop when it first came out on VHS. My dad rented and let me watch it. Dad's right there. Raised you right. Because I tell you what, man, I'll tell you what. I know that we're always trying to protect our kids and protect our kids. We got to protect our children from the outside world. Can't protect the children from the outside world. You could have the nicest freaking, you could have like a really nice attitude and demeanor, and you go outside and you meet a jerk on the street. You could have a nice, clean mouth and vocabulary and everything like that. Go outside and hear somebody just be like, yo, man, I banged that bee. And it's like, wow, thank you for teaching my kids new words. And you're not even allowed to punch somebody like that. Unfortunately, I know, I tried. You get in trouble for stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, like you can't, there's nothing you could do. There's nothing you could do. So I'm not saying just simply F the kid, like F them, just let them run out in the streets, you know what I'm saying, and lick the electrical outlets and stuff like that. Nah, you protect them as best you can. But if they wind up watching a horrible movie or something like that, like a horror movie or whatever, as long as they're not watching freaking porn, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where it's like, hey, sit down with me, let's watch a Godzilla movie where Godzilla's like shooting blood like a geyser and stuff like that. Better to watch it on the lizard first. But yeah, man. Um, Trying to protect our kids from the freaking world. You can't protect your kids from the world. So there's Gizmo. Gizmo. He doesn't say that. Spike does. What else am I going to open? I got some cool things, man. I got 3 more things. This is the least cool of them to some people. I got burn. Read the manual for Gizmo. Read the manual for Gizmo. It says, do not, what is this? Don't get them wet. Don't shoot. I can't remember what they all were. Oh, keep them away from bright lights. Don't get them wet, and don't feed them after dark. That's what it was. I couldn't remember the bright lights thing, but yes, bright light. Nice one, Aiden. Nice one. I actually forgot about the rules. Suen, what's going on, Suen? How you doing? My only Comic-Con adjacent thing I remember my dad going to me with was introducing me to Indiana Jones. Oh, nice. 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 Indiana Jones is awesome. And that makes sense since your dad's like a freaking English teacher, that he'd be like, archaeology, son. Let me show you how it's done. Also, Nazis face melting. Yes. Man, I'll tell you what, like that's a big thing. At the end of the day, you know what? Like that's something also. Do we need all the anti-Nazi propaganda? I guess in some ways. Realistically, all you need, have your kids watch Indiana Jones because they will root for Harrison Ford and the Nazis are going after Harrison Ford. Nazis automatically bad. Boom, done, done. Conversation's over, right? I've got a Goomba. Here comes Mario. So I got a Goomba from the Super Mario Brothers guy. He's got 1 point of articulation. His head moves. That's it. That's it. That's the that's it. That's the guy. Okay. So you got 2 more things. Now, One of them, I'm gonna show this one first. The next one's a select group of people. Like for instance, Derek. Select group of people are gonna freak out at the next one that I show you after this one. But yeah, what I did get was bang. Anybody ever play Warhammer 40K? I got a Necron. Necron was my favorite army. After that was Space Wolves. Space Wolves were too expensive. Like they were badass, but like if somebody gets really lucky with those dice, that's your ass. That's your whole game. Your whole game is just over. Now, I did not get any of the Space Wolves. I didn't get any of the Space Marines. I didn't get any of that. I'm not going to go and start collecting Tau and a whole bunch of the other guys and stuff like that. I'm just not going to do it. I got this for one reason and one reason only. Ooh, I've got some of these 7-inch figures. They come with a little foot peg. I got this, and I'm going to actually show you why. Even though I forgot to go to my storage and get the piece, I don't have I can't keep all of my Marvel Legends and all that figures here because I just don't have the space for them. But I was going to go down to my storage and get my my guys. Actually, I might even have the thing that I'm looking for here. Shoot, dumb. I should have thought about it. Because I got my stuff separated, and this particular figure would be with my Spider-Man stuff, and I'll explain why in a moment. So let me just... Oh, there's a piece of plastic holding it in. Go figure. Okay, so let me just stick these guys back in here. You, garbage. Get in with the garbage. Piss off. Okay. Oops, little piece of plastic. You can go bye-bye. The Way of the Dodo. So, we've got the Necron. We've got his little foot peg. He's got little pegs on the bottom of his feet, so he can be like, I'm standing. Jamal Lewis, what's up? I'm going to get you guys talking in a minute. Give me a second. I see a question coming in from Cryptid. So he's got his. This is awesome. First off, let me check out the first. He's got this little guy here. He got the little scarab. So it's not usually these guys that have a scarab, but if you want to build an army, there's actually 2 characters in here. So we've got the Necrons. And then we've got the little scarabs. So, you can have like 4 scarabs or so in one little part. So if you get 4 of these guys, right? Or if you get 8 of these guys, there's one run. And then you got you got 2 sets of scarabs to go out and fight people. Then you try and get your immortals going. Dude, I'm telling you, I remember these freaking guys. Loved these guys. And one of them should go on the back of the leader's hand. Right there, bang. But anyway, he comes with the gun. I'm not going to bother putting him on him. But he's got the gun. He can hold it in 2 hands. The big rifle shooting its necrotic energy. And that's all that it comes with. But let me check out his articulation first. Okay, that's not bad. And of course, oh, this is on a ball joint. It's on a ball joint, mother fatheads. Look at that. He could be like Zemo. Turn to you in and you'd be like, uns. Dude, that's awesome. Hey, Suan, is it wrong that I want to build an army out of fluffy bunnies and bears? No, it's not. Darn it. So, okay. So, Suan gets the Zemo dance. Uns. Woo, 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 woo. Thank you for the $5, Suan. What's up, just some guy? How you doing, man? Oh, Mr. Lagzauni. What's up? Let me get to your question in a hot minute. So, look at this. Look at it. First off, listen. You guys hear the ratcheting? Oh, that is just super sexy. Ooh, he could be like, what's up? Ninja kick. Look at that. It goes all around. He's like, nah. Yes, I'm ready for my hysterectomy. Like, what is this? I'm ready to give birth. Oh, wait. Dada. Like, oh my God. Yeah, dude, this thing is all sorts of messed up. John Smith, what's going on, man? So, yeah, this is, what kind of waist articulation does he have? Okay, he bends below and above this spinal cord. The top actually, because the top actually rotates. So it can actually rotate. It's not a lot. Oh, but the bottom one does also. Look at that, the bottom one does also, and then so does the top. So that's actually really good. He doesn't have as much rotation as I'd like him to, as much range, but that's pretty cool. Now, what do I want to do with this guy? Because I'm not going to use this guy as the freaking Terminator. I've actually already got a T800 endoskeleton. So what exactly do I want to do with this thing? Well, I want to pop off his head for one, and then I want to do, okay, share screen, share screen, share screen, and share. I want to do this. That's right, my peeps. I want to do this. I want to pop off his head, paint him silver, paint the colors a little bit down here. And if you guys remember for that one speedster, what Speed Demon, I think his name was Speed Demon. Anyway, one of the Spider-Man enemies, he comes with the head of Silvermane on that little car, similar to the way that Headpool comes with Deadpool, but on a little car. So you can actually take that remote control car off, leave the head separate, and plant the head on top of here. Lots of people have been doing this. So I'm going to do this also. This is the body, and this is the head that comes, this is Silvermane's head that comes with that one speedster guy. And that was in the, which wave was that? The Absorbing Man wave. So bang, right there, baby. That's what I'm talking about. I am going to build that out of this. So got a little painting to do. I'll probably make a video about that. And then bang, it'll be nice. Look, he's got some ankle articulation. He could go up and down with the ankles. Like this is no joke. Oh, and he's got toes. Look at that. He's got toes because the toes knows foes. Who makes this? Damn, this is really good. Is this a Todd McFarlane? Why, yeah. Yes, it is. McFarlane Toys, right up top, over here. Right there. Oh, man. Sick. Sick. So I am going to have a Silvermane. That's why it would be in with the Spider-Man stuff. The head of Silvermane is in with my Spider-Man stuff. Okay, let me get some questions before I get to the last thing, which is going to be epic. What are some of these questions? Okay, right down to here. I swear to you all on my Bible, which version? That when you get nieces and nephews and I become a parent, you bet your ass I am a human nurturing them for some sort of Comic-Con dumb. Nice. You got to bring them on. Figure out like when they're babies, you got to bring them there and do. My kids just found out today that, you know, my picture is me and Stan Lee over here. My wife has one also, that they were both alive at that time. And their mom said, nah, leave them at home. And I got to say, I wanted to bring you guys, but your mom said no. And I said, one of these days he's going to die and they're going to wish that they had a picture with him. And they said, yeah, Mom, how come you didn't let us get a picture with Stan Lee? Anyway, so Jamal's here. What's going on? Mr. Lagzauni. Did the best I could. Mr. L. Hey, Professor, how you doing? Been watching your channel for quite a long time. Well, thank you. Keep up the good work. I will try. I like your reviews regarding the comics genre. Thank you very much. This old guy talking about the way that it used to be, and talking about all the times that people are stealing from the old school days. Where's Silva? Where's Silver Surfer? All right, where's he at? Because he'll be on here and he'll be like, yeah, F the man. Aiden, what's up? Read the Oh yeah, I just read that. Let me show you what grown-up movie can be. Hey, Miguel. Professor Bill, what are your thoughts on Sinister War event? I did not say anything about a Sinister War. There's going to be a Sinister War because I'm down with the Sinister War. Realistically, this was predicted in the Hoxpox stuff that this is going to be the thing that actually leads to the big betrayal by Mr. Sinister. So this could actually be it. I have a feeling that a lot of that stuff is going to be happening like really, really soon because at the end of the day, what do you call it? You got Jonathan Hickman is leaving as the head of X, so only the stuff that he's done already is going to still have him as head of X. All the rest of the stuff is just going to be people going, yeah. In the meantime, yeah, you got to do what you got to do. I don't know. I'm hoping that he at least still had something to do with that so we could see the future events of that. It kind of bites. I don't know if it's him getting bored with it or Marvel not trusting him enough, like the editors at Marvel not trusting him enough. I don't know what's going on, but I know that he had a plan, and I can't say this plan was the best. Again, a lot of us fell off. Dude, right now, there's not a lot of people looking at X-Men reviews, and I'm not just talking about mine. I know that a lot of people dropped off of mine because I didn't read the Ten of Swords, which, by the way, I still have the whole stack right here to my left. Maybe after I'm finished with my exams, which I'm scheduled to take not this weekend, but next weekend. I don't know which day. It's going to be a Saturday, a Sunday, or a Monday. I got a 5-hour exam to take my immigration and refugee consultation thing. And I'm 28 pages into making my own book about the information. So hopefully, and that's not including the laws and whatnot. This is the immigration refugee. This is the entirety of the Immigration Refugee Act. Double-sided. This is the whole thing. And this is not even the regulations which are based on the act. This is not the criminal code, which kind of involves that. Whew, dude, like I am becoming a lawyer specifically for immigration. So if an immigrant goes to jail, I can actually go and try and get the man released, or the immigrant, whatever, released and whatnot. So like, dude, I'm going to be a straight up badass pretty soon. Badass is what's coming up next. That's the final toy I got to show you. But let me get to these questions. Hello, Professor Bill. What are your thoughts on Sinister? Oh, just read that one. Yeah, Professor, what are your thoughts on the Sinister War event? I don't know, Cryptid. I don't know. I just said. Granted, you said that you sent this like 3 minutes ago. First time Dr. Octopus will be returning in Spider-Man since the end of Superior. I know, and I don't like the idea that he's big again. I don't like the idea that he's fat again. I don't like the idea that he's not Superior again. What? I know I read it. Somebody mentioned that, like, what happened? How come he's no longer Superior? What happened? Did he have to leave that body and go into a new, crappier body or something like that? Why is he, somebody in the comments, please, why did he go back to normal? I don't feel like going and looking this stuff up anymore. It bugs me though, man. I don't want him to be fat old Dr. Octopus again. I like the Superior Octopus, dude. The guy was freaking epic. Like one of the best freaking characters. Get the Hydra symbol off of him, but that was such an epic version of him. It's wrong to point, Bill. Mr. Irwin, the elder, is a white-collar power company leader, and my mother is the English teacher. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just remember you saying son of an English teacher. And, okay, cool. Somebody shouted the F word at the mall around my 7-year-old. She said, that guy scared me. I told her, people scream out stuff around here. You get used to it. Right, Jamal? You get it. Like it happens, man. There's some strange people. I told you that one time I was in the mall. There's the one guy, I'm walking with my kids and I'm holding their hands. And the guy in front of me is walking with his wife, girlfriend, whatever, and their little son. And their son was younger than both of my boys. But I'm holding my kids' hands in this crowded mall. And this is like 2 years ago. This is before the pandemic. And they're not watching the kid at all. And the kid starts wandering off and starts going over that way. I'm just like, I could be like, hey, bud, your kid's wandering over, but like maybe he'll give me a dirty look or something like that. I'm just like, you know what? It's not my business. It's not my business. If he turns around and goes, where is he? He'd be like, I just saw him wander over there. You know what I'm saying? Like if he asks me, but that's that. So I'm just like, whatever. So I just go to start walking around. But as I finally start walking around, that's when he turns around, he goes, and he looks and he sees, me there. And he just like, I was like, hey, and I just keep on walking, with my kids. Well, he is able to grab his kid, brings him back, still not holding his hand, but starts saying, you need to watch out, pal. And I'm just like ignoring it. I'm trying to like, he's probably talking to me, but whoever, whatever, who cares? And I keep walking and he's like, yeah, I'm talking to you. I'm just still ignoring it. You need to watch where you're going. You got in the way of me and my son. I'm just like, oh my God. I turn around, I was like, yeah, they get away from you when you're not holding your hands or not holding hands, right? That's why I'm always holding theirs, huh? And I'm trying to be cool. I'm totally cool about it, And he's like, yeah, well, he got away because you were walking. It's like, no, bud, I think he got away because you weren't holding his hand and you weren't watching him. Now, I'm not trying to be, your kid's parent, but I'm not trying to be your kid's parent. It's your job to watch your kid. I was just walking around you, bud. And he's like, you need to watch where you're walking. So finally I stop and I turn around. I was like, maybe you need to calm yourself down, son. Because at the end of the day, I'm not here to sit here. And I told you that was where that was the one thing I said, I think I did wrong on that because I called him son. Meanwhile, he's a black guy. Probably shouldn't have said that, but I wasn't thinking about it. It's just something from my army days. But anyway, I was like, I think you need to calm down, son. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I am not your kid's babysitter. I'm not your kid's dad. You are. You need to watch your kid. Now, I'd like you to stop yelling at me while I'm walking with my kids. Just go watch your kid, man. Go have a nice day in the mall with your wife. And I forget what he said back to me. He said something really stupid. I don't remember because I interrupted him. I was like, hey, bud, how about this? If you feel the need for me to watch your kid, what do you say? You want me to take care of your kid, and I'll take care of your wife for you also. How about that? He's like, you son of a, because at one point earlier, he's like, I don't want to fight you. I'm just saying, man, you need to watch yourself. I'm like, you never tell me to watch myself. Like what level of stupid do you have to be to talk? Like, here's a guy who is a full head taller than you. I am a head. So, dude, I'm at least what, 8, 9, 10 inches taller than this guy. You look up to me. You know what you should do? Look up to me. Like, dude, you do. People, I don't know what it is with this world today. But you know what? You know what was funny is that his wife was like, no, no, no. And she's pulling back. It's like, you lucky. I was like, yeah, I'm really lucky that the man in the family is holding you back. Like, what are you, stupid? Don't act like you're tough if your wife can hold you back, you freaking loser. Oh my God. And unfortunately, my kids had to see that too. But what am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? Because they're looking at me like, Daddy, why is this crazy person yelling at you? Ah, you can substitute the Necron for the Spider Killers from Marvel for your display. Whoa, 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 whoa. The Spider Killers were more like a big Cthulhu looking thing, but metal. Actually, I think the Brood would look more than like that. Regardless, at some point, we're going to get something that either looks like a Spider Killer or they're just going to flat out give us the Spider Killers. Guys, you're all Marvel Legends fans or Marvel Select fans in this case. You remember years ago, Marvel Select put out The Watcher? And people have been selling that thing for $100 US a pop, sometimes up to $250 Canadian at the very least. You know what I'm saying? You go and used to see that thing on eBay 4 days ago for that much. You know what Marvel Select just released? Images that they're going to be re-releasing the freaking the Watcher, Uatu the Watcher. They're re-releasing this thing, and it's going to be for $30 US. Actually, $27.99 US, cheaper than they usually release things. Meanwhile, people have been spending like possibly up to easily $100 though US, easily $100 US. People are buying these things. I keep on telling people, bro, I get it that you want these things, but may I recommend just wait. You don't need the thing that bad, dude. I want Mephisto on the throne in the worst way, but I know that they're going to remake him soon. Soon enough, they're going to remake him. He might be the next Marvel Legends, re-release that comes out soon. I wanted the Titanium Man. I've been saying for the past year and a half, I want the Titanium Man. You know what the next Marvel Select figure that's going to come out is? Titanium Man. And it's going to be the old version, and the Marvel Select ones are the 7-inch scale, not the 6-inch scale. So he's going to be like this guy's height. You know what I'm saying? And it's going to be a gorgeous thing. It's going to be gorgeous. I'm going to have the freak, and so boom, I can get my Armor Wars going with Tony Stark. So I'm happy, dude. Professor Bill, what's your favorite comic series run of the time from DC and Marvel? Uh, favorite, I don't know. The favorite run? I don't know. There's a lot of them. I can't say any just one. But there's a whole bunch of them, dude. The X-Men run that Chris Claremont did. I mean, that whole thing was it was superb. It was amazing. Even the mistakes that were in there. Jim Shooter was there, and he was able to fix some things, and it made it such a comprehensive story. And then I just mentioned the Armor Wars, right? Anything Armor Wars and all the stuff afterwards. Like Iron Man was one of my favorite comics going. Like, oh God, that was just amazing. When the War Machine came out, when Rhodey got the War Machine later on, all that good stuff, dude, was amazing. Captain America back in the days with around the Cap Wolf. There were a couple bad stories, but like the Streets of Poison. But there were some great storylines also. There was Walter Simonson's run on Thor, which was just the most epic run on anything at any time ever. Like there were some really good ones. A really good arc that a lot of people come down kind of hard on sometimes is the Dark Knight. There was the big Batman crossover. He had at least, I think he had like 3 comic books out at the same time. I don't remember what they all were, but the Breaking of the Bat. You know what I'm saying? The one there was like 12 different issues all over the place that led up to the break of the bat. When Bane came out and he's like, I'm gonna kill Batman. I'm gonna break Batman. And then he released he took one RPG, boom, let out everybody from Arkham. They came out, gave a really hard time to everybody. Riddler wound up getting the Venom serum at one point, and then all of a sudden Bane comes up and he's like breaks his back and whatnot. That's how we got like some real stuff from Azrael, right? Like we got some really good storylines for a while, man. It was, man, 80s was such a great time to be a comic book fan. And then later on, even in the 90s and 2000s, there were still a couple of good things. Like you had the Avengers Disassembled, you had the Mutant, well, there's Mutant Massacre, but that's going back to the X-Men stuff. You had the M-Day. You had the M-Day event. House of M. There you go. You had House of M, which led into Civil War, which led into Secret Invasion. That wasn't the greatest, but it was still okay. Then you had Siege. Siege was amazing. Like they should do more with Siege. We'll get there. Just got the reprinted AD&D second edition. Ah, dude. Oh, the Dark Sun box. Oh my God. I never got to play that. I bought that, and none of my friends wanted to play it. John Smith. Tune in just to hear you say mother fathead. Oh, there you go. Let's see. I don't know a lot about Silvermane. Only read his origin and the Spencer run. Is he a cool character? He's a mob boss. So that right there. I don't have any other mob bosses. So I got to get some regular figures, kind of, Italian them up. And then boom, it's good. It's fine. I'm Italian. I'm allowed. That's my joke. That's my joke. Oh, and the Humpty Dance guy died last week. Yeah, I know. Humpty Hump. That's a shame. I was just talking about him not too long ago. I was like, you can't tell me that you're a freaking Tupac fan if you don't know the Humpty Hump. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't tell me all that stuff. All around the world, same song, baby. you know? I like to be benevolently evil. Oh, you succeed, Sue-Ann. What do you think about Sentry's death? Mr. L says, do you think it's poor writing overall since the guy faced multiple death scenarios but always revives himself instantly? When did Sentry die again? They had him in a comic book and they killed him again? What the hell, dude? Here's a problem that I have with modern day comics. Okay, let me open this up first, and then I'll get into problems I have with modern day comics. I didn't find David Keith, but I did find, and they did have a couple of the other guys. I don't need the other guys, but I do want Roddy Piper. So boom, I've got They Live. All right, I forget what his name was. Does anybody remember his name? What was his name in here? It's just some basic name. Nada. His name was Nada, right? But anyway, just one of the absolute best movies ever. I have come to kick ass and chew bubblegum. And I am all out of bubblegum. Just best fight scene, most realistic at the very least. Most realistic fight scene in any movie ever. Woo. It was this was the inspiration. If anybody ever plays White Wolf Studios, the World of Darkness role-playing games, they had this one called Hunter the Reckoning. This was like directly lifted from there, and they just made it so that instead of seeing these Obey guys, the aliens, they saw the vampires and werewolves and stuff like that. But incredible storyline. He comes with a pistol. He comes with a shotgun. Come on out. They just released a version. I didn't buy him. They just released a version of Roddy Piper versus Mr. T from WrestleMania 1. You remember that? So that's actually cool. So it comes with regular hands and boxing glove hands, which is really freaking epic. And since I don't have a B.A. Baracus toy, I'm saying. So, and with that means I've also technically got Clubber Lang. So, dude, that's just a win-win in every single circumstance. So let me just stick this away. Whoop, bye-bye. Okay, so here's Nada. He is a 7-inch tall figure, so it's not going to go with a lot of the characters that I have. He's got, it feels like real denim, like the stretchy stuff. Yeah, it feels like the stretchy denim for the pants. He's got, there's no way this is real leather. Easily pleather, though. Easily pleather. For the belt, it's probably a plastic belt buckle. It could be metal, but I doubt it. Yeah, I think that's plastic, but that's still really cool. He's got his little ammo pouch there. He's got a flannel shirt, not made of real flannel, but that's okay. It's still cool. It's not made of the same material as the jeans. That's for sure, because this is not stretchy. But that is really built. Sorry, went down too low. You see the lines up on top? This is really built like an actual flannel shirt, rolled up a little bit on the T. He's got his face with the glasses, with the smile. He's got the face without the glasses. His head, I should say, the whole head. It's a pin for up top. Comes with the shotgun. I just dropped the pistol. Damn it. Comes with a shotgun. If this thing cocks, it will be the greatest toy ever. Damn you. Damn it. If this thing cocked, that would be the greatest thing. Right? Since my goal is to do stop motion, here's a piece of plastic that fell. And here's the little pistol. Nice. Little 9mm. Looks like a Colt. Anyway. Sick. I love it. I love these figures, man. These are great figures. Okay, so what did I say was wrong with the comic book industry? Century's death. Okay, so here you go. Besides the fact that they're constantly reusing all these storylines that we've already seen in the past. And again, if you're a new comic book reader, don't mean a thing, right? It don't mean a thing. This is my first time reading it, and you guys, the comic books were specifically made for you. The problem is, they could do the exact same thing and simply do new stories, because then it's also going to benefit us. So like when you're lazy and you don't have that much of an imagination, you just start recycling old stories. It doesn't mean anything for the new guys. Here's the problem. How does that make the rereadability of some of the older stuff for some of you new guys? So when you're new to comic books and you jump in and you say, like, okay, so I'm gonna point out like a Jason Aaron or a Donny Cates, because these are people who are extremely talented. Jason Aaron, I'm starting to question nowadays. But let's just say Donny Cates, an extremely talented, extremely imaginative young man, right? And this dude could be making all brand new stories that new readers and old readers are going to look at and go, this is mind-blowing, this is amazing, do it, yes. The problem is when you recycle old people's, old people stuff, whatever, when you recycle the stuff from back in the day, it turns off us old fans. Now, what about you new fans? You're reading, say, oh, this is cool, but what do you want to do? Not only do you sometimes continue reading comic books, but sometimes you want to go back and see some of those older storylines. Sometimes you say, yeah, let me go back and see some of this old stuff. Like, for instance, I watched Infinity War and Endgame, and that was supposed to be based on the 6-issue Infinity Gauntlet stuff. Let me go back and read them. And then you go to the comic book store, and the comic book store guy tells you, whoa, 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 this is your first time reading this. I'm going to need you to get Thanos Quest first. It's only 2 issues. Go ahead and grab that first, because that's how Thanos assembles, because he didn't just suddenly get the gems, right? No, he has to assemble the gems first to form the Infinity Gauntlet. And you can read a couple issues of the Silver Surfer before that, and maybe a spurious issue of Spider-Man, but for the most part, read some Silver Surfer, and then you have the whole story of how Thanos came back to life. But then you want to say, well, he came back to life. How did he die? So then you want to go back and you want to start reading some like Marvel 2-in-1 annual number 2 or 8. I think it was 2. Anyway, whatever it is, you want to start reading some of that old stuff, right? You want to start going back and reading all this old stuff and just being like, wow. But because then you wind up becoming this, well, like me, you become this guy who just, all these different things about the comic books, and you're like, this is amazing. But then here's where you run into some problems. You run into the problem that I've run into today, but you run into it retrospectively. You run into it by saying, oh, hey, cool, all right, so this is cool, when all of a sudden, wait a second, I seen that in Donny Cates' run. Okay, well, let me just move on. It's coincidental. Oh, hey, this is cool. Oh, wait a second. I seen this already also, but it was in Jason Aaron's run. But this is stuff that's like 30, 40 years old. So where'd this stuff come from? Right? This is one of the reasons why so many people fall off the DC comics. At least the older stuff, when why am I forgetting his name? Julius Schwartz. When Jules Schwartz was the head of DC Comics, He used to, and he was in charge for like what, 22 years. He used to tell the people, don't bother doing anything crazy. Go back to 5 years ago to the date and just take some of the material that was there and just rehash it. People keep on reading it, no problem. Yeah, the problem is then 5 years later, when your readership dies off, that's when you realize the mistake that you've made. And you're not going to get those people back. You're just not. Like maybe a handful of them you'll get back. The problem is that the more comics you read, the more comics you're going to want to read. So when you're reading the modern day stuff nowadays and you see something that somebody puts together, and you're like, oh, this is cool, and you want to go back and start reading the older stuff, you see the things where it's like, oh, somebody already used that before. Or one of the things that's sometimes just as bad or almost as bad at the very least is, wait a second, this happened back then, so how could they have done this nowadays, right? It's that continuity thing. Now, one of the things that hurts the most is when people who I respect in the comic book industry or wherever else say continuity kills, because I've heard it before from people who I respect a great deal. And I try to very respectfully give them the counter argument to that. If continuity kills, then what is the purpose of a franchise? If you have a franchise, let's say, for instance, Star Trek. You know what the new thing that they're doing right now with Star Trek? They're going to have the Pike series. So you're going to have just one season. They're not going to do 2 seasons, apparently. And my wife was talking about this like an episode or 2 of the Comic Book University podcast, which was only available where podcasts are. You're not going to find that on the YouTube channel. All right. But you got this TV series, one season called Pike, where it's going to go back and start telling the stories of the journeys of Captain Pike and second officer, whatever, the Spock and the real number one at the time, you know, the first officer, and all these other stories and whatnot, up until the point where the Cage, which was the pilot for the original Star Trek series. Right? TOS, Star Trek, the original series. So if you were to go back and watch all those old episodes, and then you watch Pike, and Pike just goes on to like, oh yeah, such and such happens, and oh hey, here's this guy Kirk, but we're not going to choose him. Or better yet, no, even better yet, in this series, Spock dies. Let's say in episode 1, Spock dies. You're going to say, wait a second, how could Spock die? Because he goes on to become the first officer for Captain Kirk in the original series. So how is that? How can you just do something like that? Well, that's the problem that you're going to run to. That's the conundrum. And that's what happens with comic books. The whole purpose of one of the benefits that we had with Marvel, that we've always had since the inception of Marvel, was a shared universe. With the first time that 2 super characters, not superheroes, but super characters fought each other from 2 separate comic books. And that was the original Human Torch, the android, and the Submariner. They both appeared in, what was the name of it? Marvel Funny Comics. I forget what it was called. Somebody will remember what it's called and type it in, or somebody will look it up and type it in. So awesome. Thank you. But this was back, like they were handing them out for free at movie theaters when they were still Atlas Comics and they were trying to get some stuff. Actually, no, they were Timely Comics. So even before, so Marvel Comics, before that, they were Atlas Comics. And before that, they were Timely Comics. It was Stan Lee who said, use the word Marvel. It's a really good name. There's a lot of cool stuff I can do with that. People say that Stan Lee didn't contribute anything. Well, at the very least, he called it Marvel Comics. So there's that. But what do you call it? The first time that you ever had 2 different comic book characters fight each other was there. And it blew people away. The sales were through the roofs. This was golden age, baby. It blew people's minds. It blew their minds. And to later on turn around and say something like, you know, oh, we're going to start having the Fantastic Four cross over with, you know, the Hulk, and there's going to be fights there, and the FF is going to fight the Avengers, and the Avengers are going to fight the X-Men, and the X-Men are going to be fighting everybody, and we're going to have all these crossovers. DC eventually started going, well, we need to do these things too, because on The Brave and the Bold and The World's Finest, they used to have Batman and Superman on the cover, Batman and Robin and Superman on the covers for like, what was it, like 20, 25 years? And in that entire time, They never once crossed over. You read The World's Finest, here's a Batman and Robin story, here's a Superman story. They never crossed, but they would be on the same cover. And they never got it through their thick heads. Julius Schwartz and all these never got it through their thick heads. Maybe we should have them, like, team up at the very least, if not fight. Let's just have them team up. Let's just have them meet and shake hands and say, hey, buddy. The first time we ever had that happen was actually with The Flash. The Flash, Barry Allen, met The Flash, Jay Garrett. That's the first time I believe that's the first time that ever happened in the DC Comics. So you got the whole crossover. But all of that stuff, the shared universe, that's just when you have this incredible, wow, that's cool. But now what if there was a character who showed up in the Marvel Universe, the regular Marvel Universe or DC Universe, all right? And if they showed up at DC Universe and they said, oh, what do you mean Superman? There's no such thing as Superman. There's never been a Superman before. Nope, there's no Superman in this universe. Is that a comic book that you want to read? It doesn't make sense. If there's no reference, if there's no anything, if Superman just blew up this building by accident, oops, if Lex Luthor blew up this building, and then the very next issue, you're driving by the building and the building is there, there's no continuity. But you're saying that continuity kills? How about this? What if you've got, like I said, Spock dying? You have to sit there and say, well, then this Pike TV series doesn't have anything to do with the actual mainstream franchise. The whole purpose of a franchise is that there's a story over generations being told. And if you ignore even just one of the characters, you're turning off a select group of fans. And if it's a big character, you're potentially turning off all the fans. What is the point of a franchise if you're not going to say that everything that happened before and or after or during or whatever isn't also happening? At the end of the day, when you have people who are writing things out of continuity or they don't care about continuity or anything like that, to me, as writers, they have failed. They've dropped the ball entirely. There is no forgiveness for that. Look, I understand, and I'm not saying, death threats and stuff, because that's just silly. But when you have I'm going to get to the questions in a minute. But when you have writers who are just saying, no, continuity kills, so I can't be worried about the past of this character. I got to just start writing new stuff. With all due respect, maybe you should find a different profession. And it doesn't even have to be a completely different profession. Maybe ask Marvel, hey, guys, can I write this character or this group or this team in an alternate universe? Because look at what Bendis did. Look at what Brian Michael Bendis did with the Ultimate Spider-Man. A completely new universe, rebooted from the very beginning. And he had Spider-Man, and they made that's where the Ultimate Universe came from. So the Ultimates and the Ultimate X-Men, the Ultimate Fantastic Four, not the greatest, but still pretty good. You had all these Ultimate books that came out of there. And those characters were good enough that they based the MCU off of that. So continuity is important. And if you're not going to use continuity, tell us that it's a whole new universe. So that we're not sitting here looking at this and going, well, what the hell? Because, with comic books, we're buying them every single week. And if it takes us several weeks to realize that you just screwed us over, right? So if a writer comes along for comic books and says, I can't be worried about continuity, that is the job of the editor to say, okay, listen, you're fired. Sounds mean, right? Sorry. You're not cut out for this job. You're just not. And I say this as a fan of the comics for a very long time. You're fired. But hey, I'm sure we've got other work for you. And I'm not trying to be facetious. There are all these novels. Look, how many of these novels? Right, this is Star Wars, owned by Disney also. But I've got Marvel novels too around here someplace. Here's a Batman one, right? I got all sorts of novels. Oh, here we go. Here's Spider-Man and X-Men. Like, dude, I've got plenty. Oh, here's Avengers, right? Here's some Batman. Right? Here's all these different novels. Bro, you don't need to be writing the comic books. Why don't you go write a novel? Because there are novels being made to this day, right now, today. There are novels being made. They just put out a Dr. Doom one. I can't seem to get these books back. I'm going to put them right here for now. But They just put out a Doctor Doom one. I just got 2 Thor, but one Thor, the other one Sif, and I'm trying to find the third of the trilogy with the Warriors 3. You know what I'm saying? Then we're just going to read them all straight through because probably going to be awesome. I also got a Guardians of the Galaxy one, right? I got a whole bunch, and that's just new novels. They got a Doctor Doom one. They got I think they got one with Cable. No, they got one with Domino, right? And you could tell that this is completely separate from the regular Marvel universe. You can do a novel. You don't even need to wait for an artist to print your stuff, dude. You can just go out and you could do yourself a little novel, right? Do an audiobook. Do what I want to do. Do stop motion. You know what I'm saying? Articulated comic book art. Do your own thing. Go to Image Comics or some other and make your own characters. But if you do not have the skills, the talents, basically what it takes to be a writer in a franchise with an actual continuity, then you don't deserve to be a writer. And honestly, I don't care if Joe Quesada sees this. I have no aspirations. I have no delusions of working for Marvel. I don't think Marvel's ever going to hire me because I'm critical of their books. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with DC. I don't think any comic book company would ever hire me to do something because, you know what I'm saying? If I ever did want to sit down and do a comic book, it would have to be an independent comic book. It would have to be a Kickstarter. You know what I'm saying? So unlike a lot of, and I'm not going to point fingers, but unlike a lot of the other people that are on YouTube who, oh, I'm doing this comic book and it's actually pretty good. It's such and such and such. Dude, I could tell in your voice that you hate this. I could tell by your voice that you hate this comic book. Why are you building up this comic book? You're trying to get a job? Well, then you're being disingenuous with your audience. In that case, if you're making these for Marvel, say, hey, Marvel, I would like to wax your knob a little bit. Because it would be more honest, you know? And that's the big thing. And like if you're gonna make a comic book and you can't do it in continuity, then it shouldn't be in a comic book company where there is continuity. And I just don't see how there's any other argument for that. You know what I'm saying? I understand if you want to change a couple things here and there, but we can do it intelligently. It's not the universe isn't so convoluted that you can't just I'm going to give you a great example. I know there's not a lot of people who read Hawkman, but if anybody questions the abilities of Robert Venditti, and mind you, Robert Venditti is a guy who's mostly ignored me, right? I don't know if he's a good guy, a bad guy. I don't know if he's a nice guy or a jerk. I honestly don't know because he's barely ever talked to me. Like he'll send me something, and all of a sudden I feel like he realizes, oh, he's a comic book reviewer. Can't talk to this guy. You know what I'm saying? Right? Never commented on anything, just whatever. So he might like me, he might not like me. I don't know. But putting his personality completely aside or how he's not talked to me, I cannot deny, and I would not deny, I would never take it away from him that this guy's a genius. He took the most convoluted character in all of comic books, a guy named Hawkman, a guy who's died, been reborn, died, been reborn. First he's Carter Hall, then he's Qatar Hall, then he's Fel Ander, but no, not really, because everybody comes along and they're like, no, I'm going to make it this way. I'm going to make it this way. I'm going to make it this way. And Jeff Johns used to be the guy who did it the best, and I still think he did a freaking amazing job with Hawkman, right? He got me back into reading Hawkman back when I was a kid, watching him on TV, Challenge of the Super Friends, were like, Hawkman's cool, but I would never buy his comics. All of a sudden, Jeff Johns starts doing it. I'm like, I got to get this comic book. I got to get all these comic books, and I got to read them all because they're amazing. I remember the only comic book that I had in my pull list for a while was Hawkman. You know what I'm saying? Bro, Robert Venditti comes along and he takes the most convoluted character ever and he stops for just a second, however long he took, and he thinks, what can I do with this character? And I don't know why I gave him a German accent, but whatever. He has a German accent in my mind, okay? What can I do with this character? Blah, blah. I guess that's Romanian. Little Dracula looking thing. But he took this character and he made this incredible concept and he put it together. And not only did it make sense, but it made everything else make sense too. It took the entire history of the most convoluted, complex, complicated character ever in comic books. And suddenly we're just like, oh, well, that makes sense. And you can never take that away from Robert Venditti. That guy can come over and hit my car and drive away. He can do a hit and run smack up my car, and I'd be like, "You a-hole! I'll get you!" And still turn around and be like, "That a-hole? He made a really good Hawkman comic book." Because like it's only fair to be fair, and separate somebody's talents and what they do with the things that they've done, right? I just made up the idea this guy is guilty of a hit and run, damn it. But the point is, like, people can do it if you have enough imagination, if you have the right ideas. Nobody ever has to switch up the Hawkman character again. Or if they do, just keep the idea that Robert Venditti had. You're golden. You're golden. And this character, suddenly, nobody's going to question this character. Bruh, I'm saying. It, it's not that hard. And if it is that hard, then you don't deserve to be working in comic books. If I can't do it, then I don't deserve to be working in comic books. It's as simple as that. This is a franchise. The whole purpose is to maintain some level of continuity. Let's start seeing what you guys are yelling at me about this time. So, Sinister War. You guys are yelling at me. Oh, the Sinister War for Spider-Man. Okay, yes, that I do know about. So the Sinister War with Spider-Man is basically the female versions of the Sinister Six and the male versions of the Sinister Six, both going after Spidey. I'm not saying I saw this coming, but the whole time in the back of my head, I'm just like, I really hope that we get the return of the original Sinister Six too, because that would be cool. Maybe have them fight each other, but both of them fighting Spidey? Rock on. Rock on, baby. Let's go. Yes, the Sinister War actually does look pretty cool. Get Charles Soule to tutor you. Charles Soule is he's an American lawyer, and I don't think he knows anything about Canadian law. So, what are we talking about? Ed Boy in the Cut stuff. Angry Burp, what's up? Hellions was the only book that you enjoyed out of the X of Swords. That sucks. That sucks. I did see some of the stuff there, and it was, what's funny is that was the easiest to transition through, Let's see. If you read Hickman enough, he's very meticulous in his writing. I don't think Marvel knew how big of a hit Hawks and Pox would be. And came in and overcompensated for its success. I think you might be right, but I also heard that Hickman actually said, "I want this person on the team." And again, I always say this, but no disrespect against Teenie Howard, no disrespect at all. I'm sure that she's a genuinely fun and wonderful human being, but I just have not found a single thing that she's ever written that I enjoyed. So, like, some writers just aren't for you. You know what I'm saying? And that's just my situation. I know there's people who love Excalibur, which is why I'm never going to say Excalibur sucked, but it definitely sucked for me. Like, I just didn't enjoy it. So, yeah, that's the thing. When you have somebody who's very divisive like that, it's, with their writing, not their personality, then is what it is. King of Goldfish. That is a heck of a crown, right? Like, kings love gold, and I mean, fish tastes good. I don't know if goldfish tastes good. Can you eat a goldfish? Do they provide any nutrition? I don't know. I think they're pretty much all cartilage. Anyway, I agree about Dr. Ox's return, but cross my fingers, Nick Spencer will pull it off, since I think he has mostly felt rewarding to read. Yeah, I really like Nick Spencer's writing. He's just amazing. Dr. Octopus made a deal with Mephisto because, oh no, you're right. That's what it was. Oh, I remember that was at the end of the Superior Spider-Man second wave series. Oh, and that was genius also, because it further puts the idea. It's like, dude, you got the spider totem, right? And everybody's all like, spider totem, right? But you know who's had more interference with the spiders than Morlun or anybody else? The Inheritors. F the Inheritors, right? It's been Mephisto. Ever since One More Day, it's been Mephisto. And he's messing with all the spider characters. All of them. He's screwing them all over. Oh, okay. So you know what? I can't even be mad at that for happening. I knew I remembered reading it, but I just didn't remember what had happened. I think that was during the time when I was just reading way too many comic books. I'm like, I need to stop reading so many comic books. And yeah, I needed to stop reading so many comic books. So thank you for that, Cryptid. Deal with Mephisto. Also, Miguel, thank you. Bow. Hickman usually writes team books in twos. Yeah, the Fantastic Four and Future Foundation. Yeah, exactly. The Hox Pox, the Avengers and New Mutants. I think he had initial plans just for X-Men New Mutants. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case. Plus, he was on and off. I remember talking to Brisson, who was the off person for New Mutants. I remember talking to Ed Brisson in Fan Expo Canada, and he's just like, yeah, I don't know if he likes my writing, but he's going to get a lot of it because Marvel has me doing every other book for New Mutants. So he's going to do like the odd number ones. I'm going to do the even number ones or something like that. That was the original idea, as pitched. That's just hysterical. That's just hysterical. Hey, Sabah, what's up, Sabah? Didn't realize that you just started with comic books not too long ago, so that's cool. Which ones brought you in? I forget which comic books brought you in. Darn it, you just said it in the comments, one of the comment sections for one of the other videos not too long ago, and I forget. I apologize. Christina said I better watch myself. Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. What do I do right now? Plus, I don't want to mess with Christina. All right. I'm saying anybody who's married to you is definitely a badass B. So I ain't trying to mess with her. All right. I'm saying, like, you and I need to fight. You and I got to fight. That's just what it is. I'm not trying to fight Christina, man. Come on, dude. Come walking out missing an eye, arm all slung up behind my back like that. Yes, this week, age 50, died this week, age 57. Yeah, that sucks. We lost DMX. We lost Humpty Hump. Dude, not cool. Oh, gee, you guys are bringing the bad news, man. I like Jenna Wright likes slim down Octavia. See, that's what I'm talking about. Damn, $100 a pop for the Watcher. Wonder what Marvel Legends Iceman and Black Panther are going for. Black Panther, there's so many different versions of Black Panther out there that nah. As far as the Marvel Legends Iceman, they made several different versions of him. So I think three different versions. One of them a lot of people didn't like, but like I said, there's plenty of versions of him out there, so it's not going for that much. The Watcher, they literally only made one character or one figure for him ever. So the idea that they're re-releasing him now is fantastic. I love it. I don't know if U.S. Agent will appear in Armor Wars. I kind of hope he does, but I just hope he appears all the time. But I think he's getting his own TV show, and I think that's just going to be amazing. Plus the Countess Contessa Valerio de Fontaine. Yeah, anyway. Love that. Love that. Julia Louis-Dreyfus back in an actual hit TV series since Seinfeld. All the other ones that she did before were in between were like, eh. Happy 41st birthday to Christina. Happy birthday, Christina. Okay, you got some new figures on the shelf. Is North Star over there? Oh, I think didn't I send you a message? I responded to your message. No, they're not new figures. This is my Alpha Flight wall. Plus, I got Shaman, Michael Two Young Men over here. But I got Vindicator, I got Guardian, I got Snowbird. I just got her polar bear, not her, but I got a polar bear for her. And I have that one Ice Wolf. I got to get an owl. I got to get one of those big frost owls, like maybe more than one with different positions and whatnot. Anyway, I got Puck down here. I got Sasquatch up there. And I got North Star and his sister Aurora over here, the Buglers over here. All I'm waiting for is, well, actually, here, let me do this. There. Alpha Flight is now complete because there's Box. You see what I did there? You see what I did? I did. It's a dad humor. Shut up. Anyway. Nightfall. Okay. Oh, this is going way back. Okay, let me try and catch up on some of these comments. So let me scroll down. Sorry for missing anybody. Okay, we start here with Miguel. I think the Sinister War will be Sinister Six, Sinister Syndicate, and the Savage Six, according to the first cover. That'd be pretty cool too. I just read the solicit. I did see that first cover, but I just saw the solicit. What can you do with Blue Marvel? He's too powerful unless you just throw him out into space adventures. Well, see, that's the thing. When you do make a character too powerful, you do have that Superman thing. So I think that the original, actually, I know that the original real Blue Marvel series, it was dealing with the idea that he's the first superhero technically, but he was black and people told him you should go away because people aren't ready for you yet. Gee, it almost sounds like something that happened with Isaiah Bradley recently, right? And it was a really well-received comic book, right? A very well-received character. I think that one of the best things you could do with this is do what Al Ewing has been doing with Blue Marvel and just say, hey, dude, Adam Brashear, he's this totally awesome guy who's smarter than you are. And bang. And he's just doing smart stuff. He doesn't need to prove himself by getting out there and getting physical. But if he ever got stupid on him, Because I mean, think about what they were doing with Red Hood and the Outlaws. You got Bizarro right there, right? You've got Bizarro, you got anti-Superman over here who could just wreck anybody. But he was smart, so he sat there and he started doing the smart guy stuff. Now, if he ever got out of hand, if he ever did something that freaking tell me I did not forget her name. Her name was not freaking Athena. Oh, how the hell do I forget her name? Red Hood's girlfriend character there. Anyway, somebody's going to put in the comments and I'll say thank you when I see it. But anyway, if you were able to get past her, this Wonder Woman type character, you had to deal with Bizarro, and you didn't want to be dealing with Bizarro. So get yourself straight before he straightens your ass out. Don't get caught slipping. You know what I'm saying? Artemis, thank you, Ed Boy in the cut. So if you got past Artemis, right, you were going to have to deal with my man's Bizarro over there. So watch yourself. You know what I'm saying? Keep your nose clean. You don't want to catch them hands. But you could do the same exact thing with Adam Brashear. He's a super smart guy. Does all the stuff. Oh, the satellite is slightly slipping from orbit. Hold on. I pushed it back. We're good now. And you're good. You know what I'm saying? Maybe at some point he prevents the heat death of the universe. But the idea is that he's this guy who's so powerful he doesn't feel the need to use his powers all the time. Hardly ever, right? But if you cross him, he just gives you that look. Maybe a little bit of comes from his eyes, right? Reminds you, watch yourself. That's all we need. That's all we need from the dude. Planning on jumping back on the FF for the Wedding of Doom? No, I have absolutely no interest in Evan. Oh, hey, Evan, what's going on, Evan? How you doing? Also, Raven, what's going on, man? How you doing, dude? No, I have no interest in the Wedding of Dr. Doom. I don't think it's going to be any good. Dan Slott just hasn't been doing it for me with the Fantastic Four as of late. I'm not digging it, so... there we go, Sabah. Thank you. Yes, it was the Life of Captain Marvel. Yeah, that you first got in. I remember reading those, and they were amazing. Everything that Margaret Stohl was doing before that with Captain Marvel, I hated it. Like 3 times I jumped on the Captain Marvel book, and I fell off 3 times. I'm just like, I can't. This is just not done well. Then she's going to do the Life of Captain Marvel, so I'm like, maybe this will be the one that I like. And I tried it, and I'm like, oh my God, this was really good. This was amazingly really good. And again, and that's one of the situations where I say, like with Teenie Howard. With Teenie, she's writing things that I'm just not, or in a style that I'm just not liking. And very similar to with Ta-Nehisi Coates and Nnedi Okorafor and a whole bunch of other people. If you are a novelist and you come over and you start writing comic books, there's a very different language you have to use. And it's not just the language, it's literally the style. Because now things that would be mandatory in a novel become exposition, and very unwanted exposition in a comic book. Because rather than you telling me that Sam Wilson is walking through a door, that's the artist's job to show me Sam Wilson walking through the door. You get it? So you don't need to tell me stuff like this. So you have to be a lot more careful, and you have to really switch your writing style. You got to change it's like anybody who speaks more than one language, you have to switch your grammar when you're speaking, right? The verbiage for Arabic is very different from the verbiage for English. And in English, time is important. Time is something that we use in pretty much every sentence that we use. Time is, right now, is something that we use. Right now I use it. Using, as opposed to used or will use, right? Time is something that we use every day, al-yom in Arabic, saying in our lives, right? So the collective lives. In Arabic, we could just simply say something like, time is something that people say in English, or that people use all the time in English. But time is not the most important. Time is implied, as opposed to being in Arabic, as opposed to very poignant in English, right? In Bangla, it's a different thing. Italian, it's a different thing. What else do I speak? My Japanese sucks, but in Japanese, it's different, right? There's always different grammatical usage in the different languages that you use, with the verbiage, with whatever. So when you're going to switch language, you have to stop for a second and mentally switch, right? Exact same thing between writing a novel and writing a comic book. It's a very different language. And things that are mandatory here are anathema here, and vice versa, you know? If you write comic books your whole life and then turn around and you decide to write a novel and you don't really switch the way that you got to write this, all of a sudden it's going to be like, where's the explanation for anything? There's just people living in a bubble. Like what? There's no pictures. What are you doing? Right? So, um, since Romita Jr. Don't Miguel, don't bring up JR. Come on, man. I hate me some John. Not I hate him, but I hate his work. I hate his ethics. I hate his work ethic. Just horrible. Just came back to Marvel. What comic would you like him to be on? Any comic book that I'm not reading. Legit. Because if he starts on a comic book that I am reading, you get one issue. You get one issue, and I promise you, I will stop reading that comic book. If it's Spider-Man, because a lot of people want to jump on about Spider-Man, he gets one issue. If you don't dazzle me with that, I'm out. I will stop reading it. I don't care how much I'm enjoying the comic book. If he is drawing it, I despise his art and very specifically his ethics, because we know that he can draw. We've seen him draw. And for him to come out and actually verbally tell us, this was like several years ago, he says, hey, I know you guys noticed a difference in my art design and stuff like that. Sorry, but I don't get paid for how nice I draw. I get paid per page. So I'm just scribbling stuff down really quick and I'm just trying to make that money. You understand? Yes, I do understand. I understand that if it wasn't for cronyism, if all of your friends from the bullpen, because he's one of the last guys alive, he's the youngest guy, I think, who was alive during the time of the Marvel bullpen. You know what I'm saying? If he didn't have all his friends working there, John Romita Jr. would have never, ever, ever been brought back. You know what I'm saying? Because aside, Tom Brevoort was there since forever, but what's his name? Even CB Cebulski. This dude, he originally started with Jim Shooter, brought him into Valiant comic books after Jim was already fired from Marvel. So, this guy wasn't there during the actual bullpen. He was there for this later stuff when it was all corporate owned. And after they went through bankruptcy, CB Cebulski came over and he was all like, hey, man, let's sell Spider-Man and let's do one more day and stuff like that. Like he wasn't one of the original guys, you know what I'm saying? But he looks at John Romita Jr. He's like, oh, hey, respect for one of the OG guys. So yeah, come on back. You want to come back? Come on back. We'll give you a fat, juicy contract or whatever. Sorry, guys. No. Outside of the world of cronyism, there's no way that John Romita Jr. would have ever come back. With that ethic that he went and published for us to know, I'm not going to keep on doing my awesome drawing anymore because I don't get paid for the beautiful art. Maybe you should go off and do something else. Maybe you should go and do your own comic books then, right? He's created characters before. Go off and do your own comic books then. I don't know what to tell you. Currently reading Black Widow novel that Margaret Stoll wrote, and it's pretty good. Yeah, she actually wrote two. I read the first one, Red Room, I think it was called. And that's actually available. After you finish reading it, you can listen to it on YouTube. They actually have the audiobook there. I think it was actually done by Graphic Media or whatever, something along those. Anyway, and then she actually did a part 2 for that also. It wasn't as good as the first one, but whatever. She did a part 2 to it. Also, Sentry died in King in Black 1. The way he died was a lame reference from Siege. Oh, yeah, when he got ripped in half. See, that's one of those things. Thank you, Mr. L. See, that's one of the things also with Donny Cates is his tropes. He's just got all these tropes that he just, here, guys, here's this, whoa, this crazy thing's going to happen. And when he does, those can usually catch somebody. You'd be like, oh, wow, I can't believe they did this. But when you come to expect it in every comic book, and more than that, you use it like a minimum of 2 or 3 times in every single comic book. And I'm not exaggerating. Go back and read Donny Cates' work. You'll have 2 or 3 holy crap moments in the comic book. And like, I get it, but way to overuse that. It gets to the point where it's when you expect, if you're walking down the street and you go to walk around a corner and somebody's there dressed in a devil costume or a freaking Chucky costume or whatever, what's the clown? Pennywise, and just goes, ah! Like that. You just go walk around the corner, like, holy crap! But if this happens every single day, you know what I'm saying? You get used to it. You walk around and just like, hey Al, you know, what's up, Bob, and just keep on walking, or you take a different route, right? And if they're not going to change, if they're not going to like find a different way to then it's like, so every time that we read one of his comic books, we know what we're going to get when we read them. We're going to open them up and just be like, what's going to be the big surprise thing here? Oh my God, Century got ripped in half. Because let's be realistic. If that wasn't a Donny Cates trope, where he'd constantly do something wild and outlandish multiple times in a comic book, and all of a sudden it'd be like, oh, they're sending the Century in. Holy crap. Oh, dude. Null, yo ass is crap. Oh, crap. What'd you do to my boy? All of a sudden, now suddenly Null looks like a straight up badass, right? He looks like my Venom jacket just fell. He looks like an extreme badass, and it's like, oh my God. But you just have all this nonsense. Like, it's not nonsense, but when it's been done over and over and over again, yes, exactly. Leave it to Raven. Or you'd have already punched the clown. Exactly. You know, it's like, bam. Hey, Bob. Let the clown show up tomorrow. Let Bob show up tomorrow in the freaking Pennywise outfit, right? But like you just get so used to seeing the same thing over and over and over again, or at least even if you don't know what's happening, you know something is going to happen. You get what I'm saying? Maybe you don't know what costume Bob is going to be wearing when he comes around that corner, but you know when I get to this corner, Bob is going to do something to try and scare me. And pretty soon he's going to run out of scares, and it's going to be recycling of the same old stuff that he's done. It's like, oh, Pennywise this week, good one, Bob. And that's just my thing with it. And if you like Donny Cates' writing, that's great. I'm not mad at you, but I like his writing too. I think the guy's fantastic, and I think he would be better if he stopped relying on these tired old tropes of I got to do something amazing for the kids, because it's not kids who are reading comic books today. It's just not. You know what I'm saying? The number of kids as opposed to like there's a way to do it. And I'm not even trying to argue that I know which way to do it. But I do know that if you just keep on trying to gnaw on your hamster cage all the time, you're just a dumb hamster. And everybody knows the hamster never escapes from the cage, right? So like you're never going to chew from that cage. Maybe I accidentally let you out, but the point is you're never going to chew your way through that cage. But the hamster always thinks, oh no, I'm going to get through. Have at thee, hamster. Have at thee. Miguel, I haven't really seen his most recent work, but I just read Man Without Fear and some of his Straczynski run and really enjoyed it. Also like the splash page he did to announce his return. I hear you. I'm glad you do. I'm glad that you do. It didn't do it for me. Make no mistake. It looks a lot better, and this was necessary. It looks a lot better than some of the work that he's been doing, either in DC or beforehand in the Avengers and stuff like that. That I admit, it does look a lot better, but here's the problem. Does it look like his old stuff that he used to do back in like 2000, right? Does it look like his stuff from back in the 80s? This isn't just a case of him being old at this point. It's simply not. At the end of the day, this is simply a case of he hasn't been refining his art. You go and look at Richard Pace. Just look at Richard Pace, okay? Who I just interviewed, and I had him on here, and he was doing watercolors. And he's like, yeah, I like doing watercolors. Every so often I go back to doing watercolors just so I don't, lose anything. And so sometimes I can learn something new, right? And all the different kinds of art styles that he does just to keep himself in check, right? To keep himself up to date and try and learn new things and new ways to do things. This is someone who actually enjoys his art, but he doesn't have the name recognition that JR has. And that, of course, comes from his father originally. At the end of the day, I believe that John Romita Jr. really just lost everything that made him special. You know what I'm saying? Everything that made his work something where we would go, nice, John Romita Jr. I feel like he's just lost it. So even with him trying to do a good job with this free little bit that he did to be like, hey guys, I'm back in Marvel. Will you accept me? Look, I took my time with this. Even then it's like, sorry, bud. I think you've been drawing hot trash for so long that you lost it? I know that I sound so negative, man, but these are the questions you guys are asking me. Could we say the same for Jack Kirby, though? Kirby could draw his ass off, but he changed his style to match speed more than quality. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Ed Boy in the Cut, I am not going to correct you because you're right. You are 100% right. Now, Jack still had a way that even his speed stuff wasn't that great. But the thing is, Jack was always fast. Jack would pull out those incredible artworks, and he would still be doing 10 comic book pages a day on a regular day. You know, saying that's not him rushing. He just had this thing about him. That's what he did. As opposed to Gene Colan, who would spend the entire day doing like one piece. He would do maybe 2 pages per day. So if he was doing a double page splash, then, and he was one of the founders of the double page splash, right? That would be the only thing he would get done with the whole day. And he'd just be sitting there doing it, right? Even when he was like 90 years old or whatever, and he can only see a little bit out of one of his eyes because the cataracts got so bad. And he'd just be sitting there like this close to the work and just still drawing on his drawing board because some people just have this love for their work, and those are the people who should be celebrated. Jack's work did get lesser when he moved over to Marvel because he figured this is the only way I'm going to be able to make money for my family, you know? And it's hard to blame him for that stuff. But he still did put work in. He still did try to, so he did go faster, but he didn't, I don't think he really sacrificed much. You know what I'm saying? If anything, it takes a very fine eye to even notice the difference between his earlier and his later stuff, you know? So, because he still thought to himself, I know I'm working for Marvel, but I'm giving this to the fans. These are people who are paying for stuff, you know? And I'm just saying, if John Romita Jr. had the thought that he could actually be fired, that he wouldn't be welcome with open arms into any company because of his name, then I promise you he would be working harder to perfect his craft. But put up John Romita Jr.'s work to almost any other artist out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see him as drawing a Spider-Man as good as most of the other artists out there. I just don't see it. Like, what's wrong with having I actually liked Humberto Ramos, and I know there's some people who don't like Humberto Ramos because of the way that he draws his legs for Spider-Man specifically. But that's a style that he's choosing to do, hailing from his Latino heritage. But even if you don't like that, what are some of the? There's Patrick Gleason who just came over from DC. Holy crap, amazing art right there, right? Why do I have Artie Bell in my freaking? Artie Bell was a Golden Age artist. What the frick? Mark Bagley. That's the name I'm trying to think of. Mark Bagley. Sorry, does anybody have a problem with his art? Right? I don't see why we need a John Romita Jr. Again, if he didn't have that name recognition, man. Let me try and move on from that. Like Donny Cates, Mr. L says, I don't like Donny Cates' writing at all. All I see is a copycat from previous writers. Hell, Donny didn't even follow the continuity. Century was merged with the Void before that. That's a problem when you're not reading other people's stuff. Do you read the Batman Superman series from 2003? Wasn't any good. I'm considering buying the omnibus. Evan Burke, it was an amazing series. They actually made a cartoon based off of the first, I think, 5 issues, maybe 6 issues. Yeah, off the first arc, they made a really good cartoon off of it. Forget what it was called, but really good. Great Hawkman moment in there, by the way. I'm going to try and log off pretty soon, guys. Just hour and a half is a long time. Mr. L, pretty sure he didn't make the research about heroes, just that, but the characters in King in Black had no role in the event. They were pointless in the story, almost felt like bait to me. See, Miguel says, Patrick Gleason is amazing. Mr. L, I don't know. I feel agitated ever since I read King in Black. I'm just a hardcore comic book reader. Stuff like that disbands continuity or use other characters for a bait. It's just, is it just me? Sorry. It's not just you. No, it's a lot of people. A lot of people are just falling off of comic books. You know, saying it is what it is, or falling off of certain writers, I should say. Look, there's still amazing people out there, you know, but we have to give it to the amazing writers. That's the thing, and the amazing artists. and also the amazing editors too. Because what's one of the things I was just watching Tom Brevoort's. He's got 5 episodes of what it means to be an editor. You know, saying like a brief introduction into editing. And one of the things he says is the editor should have the final say. Why? Because the editor is the guy who's always getting in trouble. If the editor is going to be blamed for everything, then the editor deserves to have final say in everything. And as long as the editor remembers, and there's also something that Tom Brevoort says, as long as the editor remembers you are the editor, not the writer, then we're good, you know? But there's a lot of things, like when you see a sudden shift in something, it's usually the editor that caused that to happen. Case in point, I wasn't liking the King in Black stuff and the Venom stuff, right? Towards the very, very, very end, I wasn't liking it anymore. And then all of a sudden, oh, Thor, specifically Thor. I wasn't liking Thor at all, right? Any of Donny Cates' Thor, I'm just like, there's some good stuff here, but it's way overshadowed by the laziness that's just inherent here, you know? The main bad guy for Thor, besides Loki, would be Jormungandr, the Midgard serpent. Throughout mythology, this is the character who's supposed to kill Thor. And it's just like, he's going to be a throwaway character that Donald Blake just wrecked easily. Well, that doesn't make sense. To this day, you go back and you read the stuff, that doesn't make sense. Not one lick here. It doesn't even make that much sense, right? Why did Bill just do that with his tongue? It makes no sense. It makes even less sense than that, you know? Because at least this, you know why I'm doing it. Oh crap! Here comes Silver Surfer. Now we're all done. For a minute, I was literally thinking that Mr. L was actually Silver Surfer for just a minute, but then I saw that you actually were reading some of those old Donny Cates books and whatnot, and I'm like, that's definitely not Silver Surfer. I literally just thought that like 2 minutes ago. I'm like, okay, that's obviously not Surfer because I know that he's not reading those books. So, what's going on, Silver? How you doing, brother? So, now you're not the only one, Mr. L. Have you read Shadow Doctor? It's about a black doctor in 1930 Chicago who can't find work because of his race, so he decides to go into business for Al Capone. Excuse me, where can I find Shadow Doctor? Who does Shadow Doctor? Because that sounds like something I need to look up. That actually sounds really interesting. Professor Bill, Miguel asks, I remember you saying you enjoyed One More Day. Would you mind saying why? Thanks. Sure, because there's something very different. I know it goes against a lot of things, and I know it undoes so much of what had happened. Here's the thing. I enjoyed it. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. I actually cried a little bit at the end, you know what I'm saying, when I first read it. Because I'm reading it, I'm just like, oh, man. Like, he was supposed to have a daughter. That chick the whole time was actually supposed to be his unborn daughter, who would now never be born, who later on, like other people apparently loved it enough too. They made her Araya, I think her name was. Arain, anyway. Like, holy crap, dude. Like, really amazing ideas. And it was really sad. I just thought it was a really, as far as the writing was concerned, a really well done story. Now, this was the first time that Dan Slott jumped on the book, you know what I'm saying, ever since, and he was guided by C.B. Cebulski. Cebulski admitted it. But it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, it's weird that we're going to change so much, but at the same time, when Straczynski turned around, he's like, spider totem, you're actually a spider. It wasn't a radioactive spider that bit you. It was a magical spider that was coincidentally radiated. That's what bit you. Uh-huh. I personally didn't like that. I didn't like that story at all. And it's Jan Michael Straczynski, for crying out loud. The guy's amazing. But I really just didn't like that. I didn't like the story of it too much. But I can't deny that it was really well written. And I'm just looking at it like, damn, look at this. Look at what they try to do with Spider-Man. So he's got these spikes that come out of his hand and stuff like that, you know? Later on, Kane winds up getting it. He starts doing the mark of Kane on people and stuff. Like, dude, there's some really good stuff there. That being said, doesn't mean I had to necessarily like the story. And that's what I try to do when I do my reviews. I try to separate, I try to distinguish certain things, you know? I didn't like this particular story, but I really like the writing for it. I didn't like the writing for this, but the plot was fantastic. You know what I'm saying? It's a really great concept. You know, I like doing stuff like that. Okay, am I about at the end? What do we got there? Shadow Doctor by Peter Calloway. Aftershock. Okay, it's a true story of the author's grandfather. Okay, I can't wait to read this now. I got to go and see this. Have you seen the new Mortal Kombat movie yet? My brother is in town, so we're going to watch it tonight. Nice. No, I only saw the first 10 minutes. I heard that was the best part of it. But yeah, I I may have it downloaded. It's not illegal here. I just haven't watched it yet. I can't. I just don't have time. I'm busting my ass trying to do this immigration stuff. This stuff over here. Oh, Breck Warren's reading Shadow Doctor. Okay, so now I got to read this. Damn, I really got to read this. Anyway, so I am at the end of the comments. I will talk to you guys later. So yeah, next week every Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do this live thing. So we just be like, yeah, new Immortal Hulk omnibus. New is going to work well. What's up, George? How you doing, man? George, going back and looking at all my old Immortal Hulk videos. I hope that you're enjoying them. All of those reviews, dude. Excuse me. All right. I will talk to all you guys later. Love and peace. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.